As we usually do, this week we're going to spend a lot of time talking about Donald Trump and not nearly enough talking about the attack on democracy happening in states across this country. So I'm going to spend some time this week talking about a crisis that's building in Ohio this week in particular around voting and around our democracy. I'm going to use a simple math problem to explain just how bad it is before I walk through solutions and coming whiteboard. So here are the numbers, simple math problem. 252,000, 470,000, 302,000, numbers like that all the way down to 119,000. Here's another number, 938,000. I think we can all agree, this is a simple math, that 938,000 is far greater than each of these numbers, including the highest, 677,000. That's the crisis. Why? These numbers represent the margins of victory in federal statewide elections in Ohio going back to 2004. Some Republican victories, some Democratic victories. I'll check mark the Democratic victories just so you have them in front of you. But bottom line, you have these margins, 400,000 votes over the years going back and forth. This number represents the number of Ohioans this week who we believe all of a sudden do not have the required voter ID to vote in Ohio. So Ohio's had voter ID for years, but a recent law enacted that takes place this week greatly restricted what IDs could be used from people who've been using other sorts of IDs for years. And this number, of course, that 938K is not only bigger than all of these margins, but it disproportionately includes the people who voted in the ways that led to the check marks, young voters and voters of color. So not only is our democracy being thrown under a bus, but the outcomes themselves are impacted by the disproportionate makeup of this number. We also, by the way, know that under the old ID system that's gone on for years, in 2014 there were only 42 irregularities out of millions of votes cast. That's 0.000001. And in 2016 it was 153. So 938,000 Ohioans impacted by this tiny, tiny percentage under the old system. It is a crisis. This is a massive number of voters. It has an impact on outcomes. A lot of work to do to solve it. Look for future whiteboards on how.